Alright, this is my first time ever doing this. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that every year I post a top album of the year list. But now that I have an actual music channel, I thought, hey, let's make an actual video about it. Before we get into it, I'll list off some honorable mentions, some albums I listened to this year that didn't quite make the cut, but they're still pretty cool, so check them out. First one on my list, sorry Adam, is Central Cee with Can't Rush Greatness. This was the first year that I ever listened to Central Cee, and I think he is pretty solid. He's definitely not my favorite UK rapper. I think that he can tend to be a little bit repetitive, especially in the sounds that he's taking, some of the subject matter, some of the beats especially. I also listened to another album of his this year, Wild Wild West. I thought that project was okay, and I definitely can see how much he's grown as an artist. It's not tremendously like some older Central Cee tracks still hit pretty similar to some newer tracks, but it was really nice to see him experimenting with styles on this, and yeah, it was a pretty cool project. I recommend it. Second honorable mention I have is Rebecca Black. If you haven't been tapped into Rebecca Black, she's actually quite cool, and I really like some of the music that she makes. I thought her previous album, Let Her Burn, was a little bit better, but I still enjoyed this album. If you like EDM, hyperpop, dance music, it's a cool album to check out. Third honorable mention, almost done with these, is Jane Remover. Lots of people were really hyping up this album, and I thought it was okay. It definitely wasn't my cup of tea, but I can certainly see why so many people really loved it. It's again more of that experimental hyperpop sound that I think is really neat, and I have friends that absolutely love it, but for me it's not something that I really listen to all that much. And there's a Pokemon sample on this album too. That's how you know it's good. And my fourth and final honorable mention is Rico Nasty. I do like Rico Nasty. I haven't been on top of all of her albums. I think I missed the one before this, but I have listened to quite a few, and I do fuck with her. I've been introducing her to my fiance as well, because I think she'll really like Rico Nasty, and she does like some of the tracks. Teeth Sucker, fantastic. Soul Snatcher, fantastic. Next up is the top 25 albums of the year. These are all albums that I think you should really check out. I think this was a great year for music. I don't think it was the best. I think there was definitely some albums I was a little bit let down by this year, but they still made it on the list. I still enjoyed them enough. Number 25, I've got Dave, the boy who played the harp. I would consider myself a casual Dave fan. I don't think that he is my favorite artist ever, but I do usually tap in every single time he drops a solo project. And every time I listen to a Dave album, I come out of it kind of the same, where I really love some of the stuff that he's doing, and then the rest of it is just kind of okay to me. And that was kind of the case with this album as well. I think that it has some of my favorite songs by Dave that he's ever done. I don't know if it's just the beat or just his lyrics, the laid backness of it all, but every Dave album I've listened to ends up feeling, I don't want to say feeling the same, but it certainly invokes the same feelings in me. And this one, I heard a lot of people saying was very different from his old albums, was very more introspective, more like sad. And I don't know if you listened to those other two Dave albums, but they did that too. I did really like this project still. I definitely think you should give it a listen, especially if you're a Dave fan. If you're not a Dave fan, would I recommend this? Yeah, I would. It's very introspective, very somber, very religious in its themes. Number 24, I have Mick Jenkins and Emil, I think is how you say it, with A Murder of Crows. I first tapped into Mick Jenkins 2 years ago with The Patience, which was an album that I did enjoy, I think, considerably more than this one. That album was number 9 on my 2023 list. I didn't not enjoy this project. I did like it quite a bit. I think Mick Jenkins was doing a great job. I think it was honestly just the production on it. It was very laid back and just slower, and lots of the beats were very tame in comparison to some of the other tracks that I've heard from him. And because of that, Mick Jenkins's energy on these tracks is kind of lost. And it's definitely more chill, it's more laid back. There are still really good tracks on here, like Dead Stock, Shining, Coco Gauff. And I'd still think that you should definitely listen to it if you like Mick Jenkins, because this is a very solid project. 23, an album I didn't expect to be here, Earl Sweatshirt with Live, Laugh, Love. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't really listened to a lot of Earl Sweatshirt. At least any older Earl Sweatshirt. My first introduction to Earl was Feet of Clay. And then I've listened to pretty much everything after that. And every time I come away not really impressed. He's a little bit too casual with his raps to the point that I really want any amount of energy from him. And I'm pretty sure if I go back to some of his older music, I will. I wasn't really expecting anything out of the ordinary for how I feel about Earl. But it made the list, so obviously that was bullshit. I think it may be just my palette is expanding a little bit more. I'm finding more music that I'm really resonating with, and I'm trying out new stuff that I don't usually like. But this album was really nice. I wouldn't even say that he necessarily had the best energy on this, but there was still so many beats that I think were just really, really nice on this. And there was just lots of songs that got stuck in my head this year. I think Earl did a really good job with this project. I recommend it. It's more mature, still chill, but still taking itself seriously, which is good. Except for the last half of Live, when he's just like mumbling, that is inexcusably bad. I'm sorry. I fucking hated that. Next up, another album I didn't expect to be here, number 22, Mike with Showbiz. For reasons probably obvious, Mike is an artist that I feel very similarly to Earl Sweatshirt with. Casual flow. It's not that engaging to me sometimes, but I think honestly Showbiz had a really big advantage from just releasing really early in the year. Mike was the second album that I heard this year, which is kind of crazy. I didn't start listening to new music until February 6th, but still, going back to my 2025 playlist and playing it, I would hear Mike songs all the time. And I think because of that, I really got into it. It still has a lot of my problems that I have with Mike, where it's like some of the flows can be kind of repetitive. Vocally, he's not really doing the most interesting thing in the world, but I do think that there is a lot of tracks on here that I really liked by the end of it. The production on this thing is absolutely phenomenal. Mike himself does a good job. Then We Could Be Free, Watered Down, Man in the Mirror, Artist of the Century, Da Rock. There's too many hits on this thing that just fucking go. All right, number 21, an album that I actually reacted to, Danny Brown with Stardust. Danny Brown is one of the few artists that I've seen live in concert, and is honestly probably my favorite concert I've been to. I unknowingly got in a mosh pit, and it was fantastic. But I really, really like Danny Brown. And this album, to me, of the ones I've listened to, is maybe my least favorite? But it still made the list, so that's how you know he's a great artist. I think that this album had a lot of the same sort of vibes and feelings that like the Jane Remover album gave me. But I think the biggest difference between the two is Danny. Because Danny is the focal point of this album, while it has more of those like hyper poppy sounds to it, experimental pop, I don't know, I'm not good with fucking genres. He definitely keeps it hip hop still. And I think that's what was keeping me on this album, because he sounds really good on all of these beats. I want Danny to become a superstar after this, like 100%. There's songs on here that you don't really want to listen to in the setting that I listen to them. Because when I was reacting to them, I'm sitting in this room by myself with my headphones analyzing the music and just like seeing how it makes me feel. And so when I hear club bangers and like things that would go really good at parties, they don't move me that much. But there was still really, really good tracks on here, stuff that I still go back to all the time. And I think that Danny Brown did a fucking amazing job with this. As good of a job as he could have done with his first attempt at this. Like, this is really cool. Whether or not he'll continue to make music like this, I guess we'll see. Even if he doesn't, I'm really glad that he tried this, because it was a good listen. Number 20 is an album I was really, really wishing would be higher, and that's Amine with 13 Months of Sunshine. For a while, Amine was my favorite artist, period. I was kind of like right on beat when he was dropping his first album, Good For You. He had dropped it like 2 months ago or something, and then I hopped on the train. But I've been a fan of this man for like 8 years. And it really makes me sad to say that I think he hasn't been able to top his 2020 album Limbo. That album was so good. And I think that 13 Months of Sunshine is a definite step forward in where he's been. Because after Limbo, he definitely started to kind of take a little bit of a step back with like 2.5, the Ketramine project, where it was more just like, I'm rich now. I can chill and have fun and just relax and hang out and party. And it kind of lost a lot of the personal elements that Amine was really showing. I think this project, honestly, I'm not giving it enough flowers. It did a good job setting a specific vibe. I still think that a lot of the like content and subject matter in here is pretty similar to some of his older stuff. There's certainly a little bit more of an emphasis on like his family here, but there really wasn't any tracks that I thought were standouts as some of the best in his discography. I think as a whole, the project, the body of work is very well done. It's very well produced. He sounds good on everything. I just find myself hoping for a little bit more out of this artist that I genuinely called my favorite in the world at one point. That being said, there are still moments of really greatness, as there always is on his projects. The second half of 13 Months of Sunshine is fantastic. Raspberry Kisses is great. And it is a very catchy project. Like, I get a lot of the songs in here stuck in my head all the time. Number 19, another album I reacted to on the channel, is Chance the Rapper with Starline. I won't talk about this album too much. If you saw my reaction, you'll know most of my feelings anyways. I'd say that they've definitely gotten a bit lesser to this album. I haven't gone back to it as much as I thought I would. There is a lot of songs on here that I just straight up don't listen to. Not that I think they're bad, but just that I don't think that they're necessarily highlights as much as some of the other stuff on here is. I fully believe this is a mixed bag of some of Chance's best work ever and some stuff that I think is pretty okay. Like, Speed of Light is quickly becoming one of my favorite Chance the Rapper tracks ever, and Gun in Yo Purse is just kind of boring. But that being said, there's some really cool stuff on here. I do really recommend it. If you've counted Chance out in these past few years and been like, I don't want to listen to him anymore, he's washed. It's a little bit long, but there are some real gems, and I can almost guarantee you'll find a song that you like in here. Number 18, and the first album that I listened to this year, Mac Miller with Balloonerism. Similar to Mike, it was something that I listened to all throughout the years, and it did a really good job of just making me fucking sad that he's gone. There was some songs I didn't really like on here that were a little bit too long, namely like the opening and the closing track, but the entire middle selection is just fantastic. Great, now you got me all fucking sad, man. Number 17, JID with God Does Like Ugly. This was another album that disappointed me this year. I think I was just hoping that it would be an amazing listen. With the amount of promotion and hype that was built up for this album, I was really hoping to have a project that in the end sounded like what the title and the cover art would imply that it would sound like. And a lot of it didn't. I think the reason why people are largely a little bit more disappointed with this project than something like The Forever Story is because that project was so tight. All of the songs were about family. All of them had a very similar theme. He was fantastic on all of them. And I think that this album does a little bit of ball dropping every once in a while, where they'll make an 8 out of 10 song and then stop. And I really wish that they pushed to make some of these 10 out of 10s. I'll talk about like Skate with Sierra and Earth Gang. That song I thought was really good. I also wish that the momentum on all of the verses didn't immediately die off, and that we would have the chorus other than just at the very end. Like, you could have very easily made that, I think, one of the best songs on here. There was just a lot of moments on this that I thought were very good, but it didn't come together to form a full enough picture of what I really wanted here. Don't get me wrong, it's still some of JID's best work on here. Community is one of the best songs he's ever made. I really fuck with VCRs as well with Vince Staples. And honestly, most of the tracks on here I do really like still. But I don't know, I felt like the intro with You Ugly and West Side Gun was kinda all over the place, not really focused, and I think ultimately that's reflecting a little bit on this album. Like, the last track, For Keeps, keep it. I didn't need that. That was stuff that if you listened to 2007 on his last project, you kind of got all of that anyways, so I didn't really get anything from that song. This album seemed like it was for the fans, and I really hope next time we get another album that's just for Jid, because when he does it, it's phenomenal. And this album is still very, very good, don't get me wrong. If you like Jid and you haven't listened to it, I'd give it a listen. You'll guaranteed find a song that you like from him. Number 16, one of my first reactions that I ever did on this channel, Tyler the Creator with Don't Tap the Glass. This is a fun little project. I don't really have a lot more to say other than that. He's definitely experimenting with some new sounds and new styles, but I mean, it's Tyler the Creator. He usually does. This is by far not my favorite Tyler the Creator album, but I do think that some of his best work is on here as well. Fuck, I'm going to be saying that for a lot of these albums, aren't I? Listen, if you like Tyler the Creator and you haven't listened to this project, go listen. The whole thing's like half an hour long. Is it even that long? The whole thing is 28 minutes long, so there you go. I do think there's definitely one really weak track on here, which is the closer, Tell Me What It Is. But the rest, honestly, really good. Really good. Number 15, one that shot up in these recent weeks, is Jim Legacy with Black British Music. I'll be the first to admit that I went into this album not knowing anything about it and expecting kind of something different, because I'm on Twitter a lot, and specifically like the hip-hop side of Twitter, so all these hip-hop accounts talking about new music that drops is usually where I find what releases, and everyone was talking about this album, so I was like, okay, sweet, this was going to be like a cool UK rap album, let me get into it, and it kind of was not. I will not even a little bit complain. This was a really, really fun listen. Some of my absolute favorite songs of the year are on this. Jim Legacy has a really, really cool style. Some tracks are a little bit basic, but then some of them are just the absolute most catchiest fucking things you've ever heard in your life. His voice is so, so nice, and Over This production is so, so good. If you haven't listened to this project yet, definitely give it a listen. It is so fun and wacky, and you'll almost guaranteed find something that you like. Number 14, I have the long-awaited Rich Brian album, Where Is My Head? I've been a fan of Rich Brian since 2019 when he dropped his last full-length album, The Sailor, and it was one of my favorite albums that year. That was right around when I started getting into music as a whole, so listening to Rich Brian was really, really cool in 2019. He was like number 6 on my top 10 best albums of the year. But since that album, he spent a lot of time releasing EP after EP after EP. I was really awaiting a full, proper album to come out because I knew when he does it, he can do a really, really good job of it. And that came this year with Where Is My Head? This is an album I unfortunately only listened to about 2 weeks ago. If I had listened to it when it came out, probably it would be higher on this list. This is a really, really great, entertaining listen to me. Just very introspective, talking about his past, where his head is at right now, and probably, honestly, my favorite Rich Brian album, period. I thought it started off a little bit slow, but I mean, it will definitely kind of snowball, avalanche its way into becoming really, really good, especially that middle section. Ma, Serpents, Bumpy Road, Time Zones, Is It She? Oh my god. Really, really great work by Rich Brian, and if you have not listened to it, I certainly recommend it because it is fantastic. Very, very worth a listen and very worth the wait. Number 13, I have Kevin Abstract and all of his homies with Blush. I'm a Kevin Abstract fan. I quite fuck with him, and if you know, he is my celebrity crush as well. And getting all of these artists on here to come together and make this album was really, really cool. It was very fresh, it was very fun. Every track has something that grabbed me in a certain way. It has some of my favorite songs of the year, hands down. Things that you'll listen to in the summer and just have an amazing, amazing time with. I listened to this on my fiance's birthday. Damn, what was I doing that day? This is a really good album. Every artist that came really, really gave it their all, and it's really, really cool to see. I really like collab albums like this. From here on out, and honestly, the last album included with Rich Brian, these are all albums that I think are really good. Stuff where there's maybe 1 or 2 tracks I wasn't crazy about, but other than that, everything on here is really fantastic. I'm really glad that it came out because I listened to it quite a lot. So many different styles and stuff that gets experimented with, and it's just a really, really cool project. Number 12, The Weeknd with Hurry Up Tomorrow. I was a little bit disappointed when I found out that this album wasn't going to be called Afterlife, because I was totally anticipating it. After Dawn FM, he's like, oh, I can't wait till Afterlife. I'm like, ooh, After Hours, Dawn FM, Afterlife. Ooh, that's going to be good. But I mean, Hurry Up Tomorrow is a good name too. This isn't my favorite album in the trilogy. It's probably my second favorite. I think Dawn FM I like just a little bit more. The Weeknd did his thing on this. It is admittedly very long. It's an hour and 24 minutes, 22 songs. I don't think all of them needed to be there. The Abyss with Lana Del Rey, Drive, Give Me Mercy, those three you can honestly cut right off the bat and it's fine. And I mean, two of those tracks as well are just 20-second little interludes. So even just doing that drops down to 17 tracks. But it is still remarkable how he keeps it interesting for those 17 tracks. I'm not even going to say a variety of sounds, because at this point, it is pretty similar to the stuff that he's been doing in the past few projects, but it is still consistently very entertaining. The lyrics are still very good. He's still singing his ass off. And if this is presumably the final Weeknd album, I am totally fine that it's a little bit bloated. If/when he comes back to music as just Abel or whatever he wants to come back as, he will have a different sound than the last The Weeknd albums. So if this is how he wants to go out, I honestly think he did a really good job. The closing track was okay. It could have been a little stronger, but the fact that it loops into the very first song on House of Balloons is fucking cool. It definitely concludes the trilogy that he was doing in a really, really nice way. Lots of the songs feel like they fit into that really, really well. Baptized in Fear, Open Hearts, Opening Night, Reflections Laughing, Enjoy the Show, Given Up on Me. Huge runs throughout this entire middle section that are just non-stop fucking phenomenal. But like, honestly, once this thing gets going, it runs as hard as it can until it kind of tapers out a little bit. Without a Warning is honestly one of my favorite songs on this album. It's just a shame that it's surrounded by so many almost like filler tracks that it kind of seems to get lost in the sauce and not appreciated as much as it definitely should be. This is, I still think, a really, really good way to conclude The Weeknd's career. If you haven't listened to it, fucking where have you been? Give it a listen, like, in order. Do the trilogy, the After Hours, Dawn FM, Hurry Up Tomorrow. Do all three of them in a row. Number 11 is Saba and No ID from the private collection of Saba and No ID. A mouthful of a title that I don't like, but oh well. In my Chance review, I said that Chance the Rapper was the best Chicago album this year. And then I was looking and making my end of the year playlist, and I was like, wow, I guess I just lied. Because I listened to this in March 30th, and I'll be honest, there was a lot of songs on this that I really liked. Every single track I really liked. Clearly, it got to this point. But there wasn't a lot that I thought was just like jaw-dropping, mind-blowing as some of his older stuff like on Care For Me. That Care For Me album is top 5 my favorite albums of all time. It's not gonna probably leave that, maybe ever. So I'm, in a sense, kind of comparing it impossibly to something that I hold very, very high, but this album is really good. It's another thing where I listened to it pretty early on in the year, so I've been listening to it non-stop. And I think I almost kind of lost a little bit of appreciation for just how good this thing is. Literally every track gives you something good, gives you something unique, gives you a lot of new stuff that Saba's showing off, and is honestly a really, really good example of his talents and just how he's rapping, how he's carrying himself. Looking at this list, I probably could have had this list higher. It's at this point that the albums are pretty much almost interchangeable between like 4 and 11. I wouldn't put this number 4, but still. Very, very good project. Saba came out. He had the best Chicago album this year that I listened to. While it's not my favorite Saba album, it's definitely my second favorite. And I think if you wanted to just sit there and say that it's his best, that'd probably be true. Some of the production on this isn't stellar. It's not bad, but it doesn't blow me away. I think it's definitely Saba and the guest features, especially Saba, that are really carrying this project. I think No ID does a serviceable job, but there was never any moments where I was like, damn, the beat on this song is what's keeping me here. Maybe once or twice, but on a 15-track album, Either way, very glad these two linked up because Saba has his best rapping on this thing. That's great. Give it a listen. Top 10 time. And everything from this point is very, very good. So if you catch me making little critiques of, ooh, I could have had this better, I could have had this better, pay it no mind. With that said, number 10 on the list, the 3-stack, Larry June, 2 Chainz, and The Alchemist, Life is Beautiful. This came out in February, but I waited until April to listen to it, and honestly, perfect. That end of spring going into summertime was so nice to have this album on. If I had listened to this in the winter, probably would not have been as high as it was. But because I was walking around, listening to the birds chirping and the beautiful grass growing and the trees flourishing and the gentle breeze of summer, so beautiful. Life is beautiful. Oh, Larry June and 2 Chainz didn't do anything rapping wise that I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever listened to at all times. But how they combined with The Alchemist created just a perfect vibe that is just so fucking good. Every song fits the vibe. They all have that life on a yacht feel. I like rich rap that just makes me feel like I am balling, even though if I look at my bank account, I am most certainly not balling. These three created a really, really perfect vibe, and I cannot state that enough. I'm focused on a touch, so it's all I see. All I see. Oh, wee! Number 9 is the only album on the list that I have a physical vinyl off of, surprisingly. It's Little Simz with Lotus. I fucking love Little Simz, man. Everything she's dropped since 2019 I've listened to, and most of it I've absolutely loved, and this is no exception. This is such a good, introspective, deep listen that I really, really appreciated getting from Little Simz, especially when you know all of the background with the stuff that happened with, what's his name? Inflo? Was it Inflo, the producer who helped make a lot of her old music with her? And how he's basically fucking stealing money from her. It makes so much of like the bitterness on Thief come out. There's just so many of those emotions that you hear in Little Simz. So much of like the depression, the sadness, the anger coming out on this thing that are just so good. Not good in the sense that I'm glad that she's feeling these things, but in the way that she's giving them across. Whatever, you know what I mean. My only issue with it, and the only reason it's not higher for me, is because I do think there are a lot of songs on this that are a little bit too slow for me. Peace, Hollow, Lonely, lots of stuff that is just still very good, but can definitely lead to this album being less exciting for me to go back to future re-listens to. That being said, it's still a phenomenal album, and you've got to hear it. If you haven't heard Little Simz before, I probably wouldn't recommend this as her first album, but it is still really, really great. It's very introspective, very different in the styles that it brings, always with the Little Simz project. And yeah, I think she dropped another hit here. Okay, into the top 8, and funnily enough, this is going to sound wild, 3 of these top 8 albums that I have listened to in the past 3 weeks for the first time. So my December was fucking list changing. The potential for it to go up is higher, but it's going to stay here at the moment, and that is Chris Patrick with Pray For Me. If you have not tapped into Chris Patrick yet, do yourself a favor and do that. I think this is a really, really honestly good entry point to him if you haven't heard him before. He is rapping his ass off here. He's got melodic tracks, big like flexing tracks. He's got a lot of introspective, sad stuff, which is why I joined into the Chris Patrick train. I'm looking at so many of these tracks and genuinely thinking, oh, that's one of his best tracks. Oh, that's one of his best tracks. Oh, that's one of his best tracks. And this is a guy who is so early into his career that I genuinely think he could be considered one of the greats in our time. He just needs more people to see that. He needs, give this guy some money. Like, get him some amazing production to back him up. He can move the fucking world, hands down. I think he is such a talented man, and it really comes through on this album. The biggest thing that was sad for me is this came out December 12th. This only came out like 3 weeks ago. If it had came out earlier in the year, I'd have more time to push it and tell people, holy fuck, go listen to this thing. And he has stayed in my top for quite a while. In 2024, last year, The Calm was my 10th favorite album that year. And even if you look at who else released albums this year and who I'm saying he released better albums than, I really genuinely feel like Chris Patrick is such a talented individual and has a chance to go so far if we only give him that push that he needs. My favorite Chris Patrick project, Heads Down. I fucking love it front to back, every track. It's only 9, but they are a solid quality 9 tracks. These next few albums were by far some of the most difficult to arrange on this list. By far the most difficult. They are so equal in terms of, oh my god, I fucking love these projects. And this next one I listened to for the first time 3 days ago. At the time of recording, I was doing a big family road trip on the way home from Christmas. I'm like, let me get some albums out of here. And I heard this album, and it fucking blew me away. And that's McKinley Dixon, Magic Alive. I've been hearing about McKinley Dixon for a couple of years now. I hadn't fully tapped into it yet. And I wasn't initially going to, but there was so much chat about McKinley Dixon in this album, Magic Alive, that I was like, okay, I might be interested. It was when I was watching, I think, the Dead End Hip Hop top albums of the year. Someone said it's the best jazz rap album of the year. And I said, jazz rap, you say? It's that fucking good. It is mind-blowing how good this thing is. McKinley Dixon has such an incredible flow over everything that's going on here, and this is a full jazz orchestra as well. All of the features come in, they do their thing, they don't take the spotlight, but they elevate it and make every single moment of this thing feel entertaining. It is just so fucking nice to listen to. It was such a ride, and I cannot wait to spend more time with it, because again, this is something that could probably also move up if I only give it some more time. But the 5 that I have above this, 6 I have above this, are really good as well in their own rights. But if you want just a really fun, interesting, deep listen that'll take you all over the fucking place, you've got to listen to this thing. People have said it. I will say it again. This is so goddamn entertaining. My mind was fucking blown. My jaw was dropped. This is good. Number 6, one that I'm not conflicted about at all, Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, Alfredo 2. Freddie Gibbs is an artist I've always liked, but never really loved that much. And I don't think it was until this album when I was like, oh, he's really good. And with Freddie's output, there's a lot of albums that I actually missed that he dropped. Even though he has so many classics under his belt, the only album that I listened to before Alfredo 2 was Alfredo 1 in 2020. And I think it was another example of I wasn't ready for it at the time, because there are songs on there that I listen to a lot. Specifically, Scotty Beam and Something to Rap About. But with Alfredo 2, maybe it's just how my music taste has changed over the past 5 years. I love every track on this thing. I think him and the Alchemist did their fucking thing on this. And it is hands down one of the most entertaining listens to me all year. Freddie is flawless on this thing. There's not a single thing I would want him to do better. There's not a single thing I would want the Alchemist to do better. It is literally just peak for 14 tracks. By far my favorite Freddie Gibbs songs of all time are on this thing. 1995, Lemon Pepper Steppers, Gas Station Sushi, Gold Feet with Jid. Such a good listen. It's so chill. And Freddie Gibbs of The Alchemist just came with full blows. I definitely want to listen to more Freddie Gibbs after this too, because people are saying that this isn't even their favorite Freddie Gibbs album. I need to go back to Alfredo. I need to listen to a lot of his older stuff. I don't want to be missing him anymore. This really proved it that he's got that shit. He can do that shit. This next one surprised the fuck out of me. I listened to this for the first time 3 days ago, but it's Red Veil with Sankofa. I think I said that right. This album almost made me cry in the car. This is an artist I have listened to before. I listened to Learn to Swim. Hands down, I saw the fucking potential in this guy. It was number 19 on my 2022 playlist. So when this album came out, I was expecting something similar. And Sankofa is not perfect for me. There are like 2 moments where I'm a little hesitant to say, but the rest of it is just so beautiful. The best Red Veil project I've listened to. I think he got into his bag so fucking hard when he came with this. And this is a prime example of making an album for yourself. Making something that you want to hear, something that you almost need to make just because of the subject matter and everything that comes about with this album. So many relations to his family, feeling like you're losing time, some of the dark things that have happened and dark thoughts that he's had in life come to the surface on this project. And I really have to just say thank you for bringing this into the world, because this is genuinely one of the best listens I've ever had. I was driving back from Christmas after seeing my Baba, who is my only grandparent and has been for most of my life. And she's getting up there in years. So when Glimpse of You came on, oh man, that fucked me up. Such an amazingly like tender and soul crushing and soul just clutching song and moment and album that I really fucking loved it. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a definite possibility this album could go down the list. I think Brown Sugar is the only one that I'm a little bit hesitant, but like History is fucking phenomenal. Or So I is phenomenal. Buzzer Beater Black Christmas. My only actual genuine complaint is that the opening track Time has the fucking Apple alarm sound effect on it. And every time I hear that, I'm like, okay, don't shoot me for this, but I'm kind of cheating a little bit. Because for my number 4 spot, I actually have a combined 2 EPs by Paris, Texas. They left me with the sword and they left me with a gun. Now, the reason I say I'm cheating a bit is because obviously this is not an album, even though it says top albums of the year list. But honestly, I had no choice to include this. Like, I saw one person online include it in their list and I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I wasn't going to, because again, it is 2 EPs, but combined, these 2 EPs that both share not only cover arts that are almost identical, but they also share the same like narrator over this album, very similar themes. They came out a week apart. And if you combine the 2 and listen to them back to back, it's an over 33-minute experience, which doesn't really sound like an EP to me. So I was just like, fuck it, they're an album now. At this point, if you know me in person, you know that I fucking love Paris, Texas. Their 2023 album Midair was my album of the year. And honestly, this is probably even better than that, which should go to show the strength of these top 3 albums, I think. Every song on here is just phenomenal. It's their best work, hands down. Red Eyes and Blue Hearts was my most played track of the year, according to Spotify. Dogma 25 is amazing. Tantrum's amazing. Holy Spinal Fluid, come the fuck on. El Camino, Stripper Song, Mudbone, Halo. It's such an incredible project that really pushes the boundaries of the sounds that these 2 are doing. I think their rapping has improved on this thing. Their production's better. The themes that they're talking about are so good. And as I expect from Paris, Texas, it is just so entertaining. And if you haven't listened to this, do it. It's really fucking good. I've shown like 4 different people in my life this project because it's genuinely just so much fun. These top 3 were really hard, but I genuinely felt like I kind of didn't have a choice into where I put them just because of what these albums meant to me, how much I listened to them, and just where they hit me in life. So number 3, all the way at number 3, is Clipse, Let God Sort 'Em Out. In another year, this album probably could have been number 1. Hell, it's probably number 2. I think that there is some stuff in the last half that is still really good, but just not my favorite. It's like 9.9. That's literally how we're splitting hairs right now. This is the catchiest thing that you'll listen to all year. An album that is just phenomenal performances by everyone involved. The production is great. I don't even have to speak on Pusha T or Malice. They are phenomenal. Malice is the best rapper of the year, period. I wasn't old enough to really be around to listen to a lot of older Clipse music. So hearing this as my first introduction to the duo, holy fuck, I cannot wait for the next one. Because this was non-stop entertaining. Literally the first moment, you start with The Birds Don't Sing, god damn. Then it's Chains and Whips, god damn. Then POV, So Be It, Ace Trumpet. And then it just keeps going and going. You're like, oh, this song's really good. Oh, this song's really good. Oh, this song's really good. I don't know what to say. But I think Inglourious Bastards being like a little bit weak is honestly why it didn't make like the top 2. If you haven't listened to it yet, dude, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? It's Grammy nominated. Anthony Fantano's number 1 album of the year. Everybody loves it. And for a great reason. Number 2, and potentially a crowd upsetter. If you know me, you know I've been talking about this thing all year. And that is Ray Vaughn with The Good, The Bad, The Dollar Menu. Ray Vaughn, signed to TDE, is an artist that I actually saw live before he got super duper popular. And even now, he's not super popular. He got in a little tough with Joey Badass, and that brought a lot of his attention to him. I was actually tapped into Ray Vaughn in 2023, I think, when I saw Isaiah Rashad live. Because he went on tour, and who was opening for him? Wouldn't you know it, it's Ray Vaughn. And so he played his new unreleased track, Mannequin, and I was like, yo, this is fire. He was hyping up the crowd. He seemed really, really cool. And I was waiting. I was excited for when a new album would come out. And then a new album came out, and it's really good. I know lots of people have liked it, and I think that there's probably not a lot of people who liked it as much as I did. But I think the reason that I did is for one single thing. Ultimately, this is the album the most in the past, like, decade or more that has reminded me of old TDE shit. And I mean like old shit. Like your Section 80s, your Good Kid Mad Cities, Habits and Contradictions. From like when those artists were really, really hungry and their talent was so obviously there, they just needed more people to latch on. And that's what I see from this album. This hands down was just such a humble experience that really felt like Ray Vaughn was taking me home. Like he was taking me inside of his mind. This is how I grew up. This is all of these things that I went through to get to where I am. There are some very, very dark subject matter that's touched on here, almost glossed on casually because of just the environment that he was raised in. There's so many lines on this thing that just stick with you because of how raw they are. Had to split a 6-piece nugget with my motherfucking kids? Dude, so phenomenal. Every second of it, I just was in love with. Feels like something that I could have listened to 13 years ago and been like, oh yeah, this guy's next up. But I'm listening to it now in 2025 and I'm saying, oh yeah, this guy's next up. This album, I think, was criminally underrated. I think it is my favorite rap album of the year. Maybe not the best, that's probably Clipse, but this is certainly my favorite rap album of the year. I fucking loved everything of it. There's still hype moments on this. Like, you look at God, Clown Dance, East Chat. Exciting moments on this thing, too. It's not just all a slog of sadness and trials and hardship, because there is celebration there. There is still good to be had. There is the good, there is the bad, and there is, of course, the dollar menu. I really, really recommend this. If you haven't listened to this yet, if you really like hip-hop, listen to it. Really, really good and definitely worth a listen. This is an album that I think years from now, people are going to be looking back on as, you know what, this was actually really underrated. And I'm saying it now in 2025. I'm recording this on New Year's Eve, so 12/31/2025. This is really good. This is really, really good. And then number one, if you've been paying attention to my channel, I did a reaction to it. It should come as no surprise. It's Quadeca with Vanisher Horizon Scraper. Quadeca is a big fan of concept albums, and I also am a big fan of concept albums. When he drops a concept album, I usually really like it. In 2022, when he dropped I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, it was my album of the year. This year, he drops this. It's my, you guessed it, album of the year. And it's really hard talking about this online because there are so many people and there's so much discourse around it. Of people being like, this is slop, this is terrible. Other people saying it's the best musical creation that's ever been fucking achieved. And I don't know, man. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a perfect album. I really, really do. It is a step up in every way from I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, and I didn't think that that was possible. But look, it totally is. This was by far like my favorite first listen of the year. Nothing compared to it. And I listened to it on stream, which was actually really fun. No questions asked. Godstained at a time like this. That's why into like Thunder, The Great Bakunawa with Danny Brown, Casper, Foregone. So many moments on this thing that are just so jaw-dropping that if you are willing to put in the little bit of effort to follow along and try and interpret the story that's being told here, you will really come across an album that is just phenomenal. I think a big problem with music listeners in general is they just play this with one mindset of, this is a song. I will compare this to all of the other songs I like and determine if it is good or bad. And I don't think that's a way that you should listen to music. I think anytime you are approaching something, especially an album, you have to look at it in a slightly different lens. You have to take it in appreciation with the other tracks that are surrounding it. You need to really think that a slow song is not going to be played at the same time as a really fast and upbeat song. Songs are made for different purposes, and a good album has songs that do all of that. They have different purposes for the whole album. And that's why I like concept albums so much, because each song furthers along a specific narrative a lot of the time. And that's exactly what's done here, and that's exactly what's done really well here. I did a whole review on this on the channel, so check that out if you haven't. I guess more of a reaction than a review. But this is just such an amazing listen. I came into this knowing that it was about a sailor, and that's it. Not hearing a second of music. And I came out just salty from the fucking sea. That's how engrossing it was. And while I do think it asks more from a listener than, say, Don't Tap the Glass does, I think that it manages to do a really good job of portraying what Quadeca wants to get across while leaving it a bit open-ended, leaving it up to you, and just letting everyone experience this in their own way. It was so much fun going through this and just trying to like piece out the puzzle as we were going through, being swept along with this album and just letting it truly just carry me away. I think it's phenomenal. I think it has the best closing to an album I've heard all year. It just has a phenomenal pace to it. I think the only sore spot I have is I Dream About Sinking, because if you're not listening to it in the context of the album, it's definitely a song I skip all the time because it's 4 minutes of almost silence. So if you're listening to it like on the bus or in the car, it can be impossible to hear anything. But again, if you are sitting in a room by yourself with headphones, it's great. And that's honestly what I feel about this whole album. And that's it. Oh my god, I've been recording for an hour and a half, but that was my top 25 albums of 2025. I hope you guys like this video, my first ever time doing something like this. So if you want me to do it next year, say nothing, and I probably will anyways. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you had a great time. I did. It was very fun. And like I said, I recommend all of these albums. Go listen to all of these albums. All of them. Every single one. Because they all deserve your praise in some fashion. So with that being said, have a good night. Why am I closing this out like a stream? I don't know. Happy New Year. See ya fucking this year.